Are you saying that 2 phone calls is not enough to get you recruited? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I'm saying, well,
okay. Well, and I wish it was, but unfortunately you're right. It usually takes a bit more than that, but that's a good start. By all means, it's a good start, which is to then add for your parents. What do you think he needs the most help with in this recruiting process?
What Nick needs the most help with.
yes.
I think one thing we try to help out with, like returning emails and that kind of stuff and helping do that. It might be some of that. Nick does really well. He's not shy. He's not bashful. Like if he goes, he's been to some ID camps, and if he goes to an ID camp, he doesn't mind to go and just talk to the coach afterward and say, hey, what did I do well? What can I improve upon, and that kind of stuff, have conversations. So he doesn't mind to go up and, you know, where some kids might not want to go do that. Nick doesn't mind to do that at all. So I think it'd be more of helping him figure out more of kind of what Nick has probably the biggest thing is he has a tough time making decisions. So it would be helping him really pinpoint what he really does want in a school. And then on down the line, you know, what you want in academics, what do you want in like atmosphere, you know, type of school, and then like what type of soccer formation fits you best, what kind of coach you want, what kind of team you want to be upon, and that kind of stuff. So,
okay, amazing, really awesome. So that leads me to this: why do you want to play college soccer? You know, why do you want to put your parents and I through all this?
Well, I played soccer basically my whole life, and it's just something that I really enjoy doing, and I just want to go further in that and push myself further with it.
Oh, I like to hear that. And from your parents' perspective, would you guys all agree with me that academics come first? Amazing.
Yes.
That's what I like to hear. And that is to add then, from all your perspective, or this for parents, what is it that you think, why do you want to see him play college soccer? Why do you want to support him? We could just do school. Why do you guys want to see him play college soccer?
It's not necessarily that I guess because he wants to. That's why I support it. It's not like a dream of mine that he plays college soccer. But if that's what he wants to do, I'm going to support him in that journey. I think that he can do it. He's definitely capable of balancing a lot of different things all at once and handling that well. And so he can manage it. So yeah.
I like to hear
I think
that.
for me, it's more than just beyond college. I see Nick, I think, I've told him this, I think he would enjoy staying in the soccer realm beyond college. Whether, you know, I know he would like to try and play pros, whatever that might look like, but also, you know, I think whether it's coaching in college, you know, he's talked about being like a PT, you know, and continuing that relationship and that kind of area. But like this summer, he's been doing some lessons with some local kids and that kind of stuff, and with soccer. And Molly and I are both really amazed at like the creativity he's brought to that, and can really see like, Nick, that's not normal. You know, most kids 16, 17 years old are just going to give up. You know, like you're doing some really cool things with kids. And like that's something, again, I think it would be a good fit for him. Stick around the college campus, be a coach, be an assistant coach, those kind of things. I think he would really enjoy that.
Oh, that's huge. I went into school to initially study like kinesiology, to be a physical therapist. I found out later that I didn't love it to the degree that I thought, and I switched majors. But I'm glad you kind of said what you said, because I'm similar to your son. I obviously loved it. I was in every meeting that my coach would let me be a part of, and that is what led me to what I do now. And it did lead to a career of playing pro soccer for a long time, and that's very exciting. So that's cool. Great to hear. Very well said. Thank you for sharing that. That is to say this. I kind of want to give you my opinion on your current situation as I see it. Is that okay?
Sure.
So let me actually back up and say the phone calls that you have coming up. Let's start with Dayton. How did that coach see you in person? And if so, where?
They did see me in person The Blue Chip Showcase. One of my teammates, he's a grad year older, so they came to watch him. And what was it, June 15th was the first day, and they sent me something that morning, and we just started a conversation from there that led to it.
Okay, awesome. All right, I like to hear that. Who are you talking to at Dayton?
It's Renali.
Okay, I know Mr. Renali. Okay, cool. Awesome. Kelly was my coach. Okay, so really helpful. So having said that, here's my opinion. It's awesome that they are interested in you because it means a couple things. One, within your region, right? And at Blue Chip, I went to school at Valpo, Indiana. So I'm familiar. I lived in Toledo for a long time with my girlfriend who I met in college. And there's limited amount of exposure for you. That's just a non-negotiable. And I think you know that and agree with that. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. So having said that, there are very few players, it does happen, who get recruited to play D1 soccer at your club level. It does happen. It tends to be local schools, but it's difficult. Having said that, it's a great school, Dayton. We want a high academic school for you for sure because you've got great grades and we prioritize academics. When I look at your video, I don't think it does you justice in many ways. It doesn't scream Division I soccer player to me. There's a couple reasons for that. Part of it has to do with the angles, which is not your fault, just the nature of things. The main reason is the order, because like at minute 105, I look at a clip that's a D1 soccer player, but then like the first minute is like debatable. One of the clips you can barely see. So I'm so glad that you've gotten interest from your show, from a showcase. That's like I said, a huge credit. But I don't like depending on such small margins. Like if you got injured and you don't get to play in a showcase, that's a problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and mom and dad did a great job filming. I'm assuming it's mom and dad, but having said that, it has some limitations. We need to zoom in some more. Like there's some things. Your intro page is inappropriate. You can't have an intro page like that. Then I picked on your YouTube video and I got to go through all your videos and I was like, look, this is a good soccer player. Okay. This is a very good soccer player who I think is Division I level. Having said that, they don't want highlights anymore. Just so you know, they want every touch videos. And these types of videos need to be going out very, very consistently. I'm talking like once a month, every 3 weeks type of deal. If you want to play D1 soccer at the club level you're playing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So my positive notes are you got two.
I'm sorry. There is one thing that probably didn't show up in maybe what he did. The nice thing is, like University of Charleston is right by where he practices. So he plays down in Huntington, Charleston, West Virginia.
Thank you for letting me know.
So the positive thing is that their head coach, Daniel Smee, is one of his assistant coaches. And so he's been helping coach. So that's been a positive thing. And also one of the other assistants, Chris Gribben. So Nick also did like West Virginia United, which is the USL Academy team that's just local. So he would they do just select that and play in the USL Academy Cup down in Florida. And so he was able to play for him too. So that's been helpful there too. So he's recently got recent feedback from them too about like, hey, you've been coaching me. What do you think? What do I do well? What level do you think that I can play at? That kind of stuff too.
What did he say?
I'll let
me.
Yeah. What level does he think you can play?
Daniel Smee, he said mid to high D1, D2 level.
Amazing.
And then Griffin, he didn't there wasn't too much other than just the USL Academy Cup. That was the only tournament we played in with that team. So he said he thought that I could play at a high level, but he couldn't say for sure just because he hasn't seen me enough.
Okay. Both great questions, by the way. Good job. That's really what we care about. I want you to get better, but at this stage, that's important. Now, having said all that's great, are any of those coaches, do you think, I'm looking at your video, and I'm not saying they didn't give you feedback on them, but are these the type of coaches, both of them, the type of coaches where you feel they can talk to you on a daily basis going, hey, this is what you should be doing. This is who you need to call. Do you feel like you could access them that often?
Oh, no. Yeah.
Definitely not.
I mean, they're recruiting. They've got families and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So. Okay. So and I asked the question a little bit coy, only because I was one of them once upon a time. I coached in college and I I wanted to help all my students, but it's not realistic. There's too many kids and you can't do it. So that's honestly why I started doing what I'm doing, because I feel like I would have liked the help that I try to give to my students, which is like every clip and every video, this is what you do, every message you respond to. Now, having said all of that, I want them to help us. Like, as you get through this process, hey, this is what, you know, I had a phone call with such and such. Where are you in your recruiting process? How should I move the needle? So we want to leverage the fact that you have a relationship with coaches who are in the college game. We just can't depend on them to do it with us as much as we might like to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that was super helpful. I'm really glad your father mentioned that. So that brings me to this. This is how I see us doing the next steps, and then we can decide from there. So the first thing is, are good soccering, like you're a good player. Almost with all your videos, like this clip I don't love, but that's small stuff, but we can fix those things. The main thing is, when I'm looking at your YouTube page entirely, like here, no GPA, no grad year, like that, just you can't do that with a highlight video of any kind. Now, USL Academy Cup is awesome. USL Academy has limited exposure, but anyways, the point is we want to make these very specific and we need every touches. But here's the good news: you have a lot of video that I can fix, so that makes me having video is way better than not having video. And as much as you've sent these out, and they've gotten some views, I know coaches haven't seen all of these videos, and I want to organize this in a way where we can get them out more often. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because we have to leverage that based off of where you live in West Virginia and everything else. And, that's important. So then the next piece is this. Right now, since you're going down to train there from time to time, the next thing is going through this process. It's important that I show you this really quickly. Can you see my screen? You can't see my screen. Okay, perfect. So then I know you've been emailing teams, obviously, and you've gotten phone calls, which is great. I do it a very specific way. I'm not saying you didn't do it right, but you sometimes play with the USL. You have a coach that's working the college game. I integrate that in all the emails. So we're very specific. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think that can help you quite a bit through this process. The other thing is, you're a very good player with great grades. I need you in contact with the top academic D3s. There's a couple reasons for that. One, they're really good at soccer, okay? Chicago, MIT, they're good. Bowdoin, these are good soccer teams, okay? So you can't ignore them just because you don't want to play D3. Also, as of today, do you have an offer to play college soccer?
No.
So it's a privilege. You have to earn the right to play D1. Now, it's great that they've already shown you interest, but as you get more and more interest, they're going to ask you, how's it going? And the more interest you have in the backlog, the way more power you have. Does that make sense? So if you had, say, 15 calls, and we have another student, he's your age, he's 26, and he already committed to Duke. He's all done. And, he had already had 10 calls with D3 schools leading up to Duke making that offer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So we want that with you. I don't think that's unreal. I've seen his video. I've seen your video. I don't think the level's drastically different. He was playing at IMG and MLS Next, which frankly has more exposure. So we're going to have to do above and beyond. I was playing JV soccer as a junior, so this is a comfortable place for me, but it doesn't mean it's not a lot of work. That goes to me trying to scare you away. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Then step 2 is we got to narrow down your list. Once we start to get a lot of interest, although you have some, I need to audit what you've already done, right? You have some phone calls. Maybe some other schools have said things to you that I would like us to apply in a certain way. And then as we get through this, we have to decide which coach you like. Does that make sense? Because that's, as much as academics are important, if you don't like the coach, you'll be miserable. Okay. So that is to say this. From your son's perspective to begin with, is this the type of help you think you're looking for?
From my perspective?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think it'd be helpful.
That's what I like to hear. Now, I'm glad you think it's helpful. Are you like, I really want this? Or you're like, I think I could do that on my own?
Probably could not do it on my own now.
Okay, good. Just so I understand. And then from your parents' perspective, do you think this would benefit your son, this level of attention?
Well, I know I've created a 3-ring binder of stuff over the last several years. I've been gathering a lot of stuff. So, I mean, the nice thing is, yeah, I mean, I do know, like, he plays for West Virginia United, West Virginia FC. It's a good club. You know what I mean? We were going to Jeff Cup. Now we're not going to Jeff Cup. So, like this last year, we backed backed off some. So it was difficult because really the only showcase we were at that really had college coaches was at the Blue Chip. And they were really just there on Friday. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not showing up, they're not sticking around on Sunday. So you really have like one day. The nice thing was there were like 5, 6, 7, 8 coaches there and that kind of stuff. But that, again, that was one game. And I think we won the game like 5-1 or something. So, you know, it was like, so yeah, you look good for a little bit, but you didn't play for 70 minutes because you were winning so handily. You know, there were a lot of subs. And so, yeah, I mean, figuring out how to do videos better, you know, how often to call, you know, because, you know, he's got like some local, the nice thing is in Ohio, we have a lot of D3 schools in Ohio, right? A lot of, they did pretty well the last year in top 25, you know, John Carroll, Case Western, you know, Ohio Northern, Baldwin Wallace, they were all doing pretty well. So it's nice to have those here, good Division III schools with academics. And he has been reaching out to those. And I know he's got a response from Case Western, going up to their ID camp here in a couple weeks and that kind of stuff. So he doesn't mind to, because one of the things he said about school was he doesn't want to go somewhere that it's easy. He wants to be challenged a little bit too. So yeah, I don't think he minds a D3 school. And we've definitely learned, I'm watching some of your videos and that kind of stuff, you know, a D1 and D3, there's not a whole lot of necessarily difference. And they think that I talk too much. Go ahead.
No, that was super helpful. That was really insightful. Which is also to your moms, because I'd like to hear your opinion. You know, on top of that, you're open to the D3s, which is great. Is this the? I'm so glad your husband's kept a 3-ring binder. Did you?
Yeah, I've done work too. Like, I mean, we have a recruiting checklist, and we're constantly like, which film have you sent? You check it off. You know, have you done their recruiting questionnaire? You check it off. Like. And that just list has expanded further and further the more colleges he's reached out to. And then now we've started adding, like, who are you getting personal responses from? And he's had a lot of personal responses. So I do think it would be helpful, though, like, now that those personal responses are coming in and we don't have more film to send, like, how do we take that to phone calls? How do we get that to where you're texting these coaches? And how do we get it to where they are seeing you? Because we're heading into high school season. He doesn't have a fall club season. And so, yeah, like I definitely have all those questions.
We're like choosing what ID camps to go to,
Yeah.
you know, because they tend to all overlap here in the next couple weekends, you know, and so which one to choose and how to go and do that and that kind of thing.
I think the biggest thing for me is, like, I know one of your plugs is kind of like, you guarantee that you're going to get whatever, $20,000 worth of academic or athletic scholarships, or you get your money back. Nick is going to get that much money in academic scholarships without you. I mean, he's got the ACT score and the GPA for that. So like, he could go to Miami University, play on their club soccer team, and he's going to roll in 60 grand worth of academic scholarships like that. So that's not like a super incentive for me with you. I think my question is like, what can you do on the athletic side of things for him? Because he's got the academics to go almost anywhere he wants. So it's more the athletic side that I'm questioning.
Yeah, I'm glad you're still questioning. So I think my follow-up would be, you guys have done what we might call part of step 1. I still don't like his video, so I want to fix all the videos. But having said that, that's okay. But having said that, the big thing which you guys need the most help with, which is great, is how do we start talking to these coaches to move the needle in the next direction, which is awesome. And even though he has video that we have no more games per se for a little bit, Instagram's really important. We have to cut them for Instagram. We have to follow up with video, even still training videos. That's one aspect. The other aspect is I need to do what's called an audit. I need to read everything he's done so far and use my accountingness brain in the form of college soccer to go like, oh, you're going to get a tax benefit on this because of blah, blah, or in our case, follow up here and send a message here. And this school we should be getting a phone call here or a visit here, or you know what, you really want to go to this school. And to your point, you're totally right. When it comes to the academic aspect, he's definitely on schedule for that. Now, sometimes you don't get into the school without soccer. So to your point, you may get the money if you were to get in, but you're not going to get in on your own. Right. Soccer is the reason you get in. So therefore, soccer is the reason you get that scholarship, even if it's academic. So
Right.
that's awesome that he's on par for that for sure. The biggest hurdles I have for him off the immediate are we want to go to very good programs, as he mentioned, challenges, and so does everybody else. He's not playing in a league with the most exposure. In fact, he's playing in a league with some of the least exposure. And he deserves to play D1. And that's a problem because we have this expectation and we have this problem. Now, that's the type of students I like to work with because I was playing JV soccer as a junior and nobody thought I could do it. But I didn't do it just by being a good soccer player. We had to do all this extra stuff. So let me then answer your mom's question, like, how is it that we plan to do that? So that's going to work like this. So the first thing is, I'm going to pull this up for you. You can't see my screen yet. Okay. So the first thing is this. When we're working with a student, your son, I know you can't see my screen now. Pull it up right now. The first thing is when we're working with a student, we want to make sure that we meet every Sunday because on Sundays, we're going to talk to him about a few different things. Let me share my screen. The first thing is I want him talking to other students. Frankly, we will not work with another player in his position with his grades as in his year as a 26. So during these meetings, he's going to be talking to some kids that are younger than him, who frankly are ahead of him in some regards. And he'll be talking to kids that are older than him or in his same year, but different position. And that, frankly, I like that you guys are in an environment where you're seeing others. Now, when I say that, it's for like 10 minutes. The rest of the hour and a half, you're going to go work with your coach for an hour and a half and talk about your situation. But there might be 3 or 4 other kids that you'll be hearing about. Then also we update you with like camps that we suggest. The AI system updates, because like the AI in about 2 weeks will be able to literally detect if it's a generic email. Like I've collected so many over the last 10 years that I have it in a folder and I have an AI reading it, right? I'm training it. So it just has updates for you. Then you're going to get a one-on-one coach. Now it won't be me. It will be me plus a coach who is more like your situation. Look, I didn't have your grades, to be honest. I frankly wasn't being recruited by Dayton at any point or D1 school at your age at all. So I want you talking to college coaches as well as former students of mine who have gone on to play college soccer or people I've hired who have been through that process. Yet, I want to be clear, I monitor everything, every step, every video. I'm working on which camps to go to, how you write your emails, every response you do. So I monitor everything. But on the day-to-day, I want you to be able to talk to somebody as much as possible. And that person only has 3 or 4 other kids at one time. Then I want you to be able to message me all the time on Discord. You saw that. I want to edit all your videos. So I know we have videos that you have now. I need to zoom in on some of them. I need them all on Instagram. I need them all on Twitter. We need to follow up with those. Then the biggest thing though, like forget this, although this is fun. Like we're going to go through your game video and talk about how to be a better player. But the biggest thing for you is this. I need to audit your situation. We all do. It'll be a combination of me and your coach to be like, it's 2 of us going, hey, I experienced this. I've been to Case Western. We have kids committed. We have 3 kids committed to Tiffin this year. Like, how is that, coach? We want you to talk to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So to work with us is a lifetime deal. We're all the way through college. And if he decides he wants to play at the next level, we will help him do that in terms of it's not that different, to be honest, than playing college. You have to go to ID camps again. You have to email the pro coaches. It's very similar. Having said that, we'll deal with that later. The main goal here is we want him to play college soccer. Now, you mentioned the scholarship. He's on par. So we do think we're going to get that much. But to your point, he doesn't need me to get 20. He can do that on his own. What I'm here for is the college soccer part. So I'm saying if in the first 3 months he's not further along than he is today, don't count Dayton, don't count the other schools. But with the other types of schools, if he's not further along, then I refund it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And basically, if I can't get it done in 3 months, like if I can't really help him, like I could be wrong. Maybe the level he's playing is going to be too big of a hurdle. And I was wrong that because every D1 coach, just so you know, other than Dayton, who saw you at a showcase, is going to say, hey, come to camp. And you're going to go, great, I'll be there at camp. They're going to go, wow, you were great. What's your showcase schedule? And then they're never going to come to your game when you're not going to their showcases. So D1 will always be a hurdle for the rest of your life. And that's unfortunate. So the way we offset that is leveraging your current coaches that have coached you who are in the college world, getting more video out to them, getting video to them every month so they really maybe come to your showcase or call your coach about you. And so for you to play D1, like the odds are really against us. That's just the reality. Play D3 at a top academic, it's difficult, but more realistic. If you go to a camp, 1 showcase, 1 video, 2 videos, they can make an offer. D1 does not work like that. They have to see you 2 to 6 times at a showcase. Like Dayton need to see you still 3 more times before they'll make you an offer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the last thing. I only work with one player per position per grad year. So having said that, I've kind of talked, quite a bit, and I want to ask your son for right now, because I only work with one player per position, why do you think you're a good candidate to work with me?
I would say because I have big aspirations. I want to play at the highest level that I can. And I think that we, speaking for them as well, we would all say that we need some help with that to get me to that level. And you provide that help.
I appreciate that. And from your parents' perspective, why do you think your son is a good candidate to work with us?
I think so because he's super dedicated. I mean, he's very hardworking. I know we live in a small town. We're not anywhere near a big club, so we definitely have that as a disadvantage. But he's putting in time and effort, maybe not as much as we always want him to. We'd want him working 3 hours a day on foot skills, but he is putting in time every day and he works hard. And so I think he deserves good chances and good opportunities. And I do think that you could help with that.
Yeah, and some of what you might not know too is, like, again, our club, the closest place he practices is 1 hour away. And really, mostly it's an hour and 15, hour and 25 minutes away. And that's just even to get to the level that we're playing at. We could drive to Cincinnati or Columbus. And, he, at one point, we were exploring 4 years ago, whenever COVID happened, he was going to go play with Cincinnati United Premier, and that kind of stuff. But it was just like, who knows what's going to happen? We had an older son that was going into his junior year of high school. Like, how are we going to make that happen? And then it was going to be a 2 hour plus drive one way, like 3 days a week with the kid in high school, so it's been different, but he has to put in just a lot of time just in the car just to even get to practice. So he's already sacrificed a lot. Most kids, they sacrifice weekends and they sacrifice a lot of friends, right? Because you can't do things on the weekend when you're friends, because you're going to over here, you're going there, and that kind of stuff. You're going, and then you're not around your club friends because they all live an hour and a half away. They don't live, where you live. So he's had to sacrifice a lot to even, to be able to play where he is playing, and he just really enjoys it. For me, I mean, I don't care if he plays Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA. I mean, for me, it's like whatever university really fits for him. One, academics, to do that, really want him to have a coach that he does enjoy, and to be able for a place for him really to be able to grow as a person too. So, I mean, we have a son at Miami of Ohio right now. And so, kind of went through that process with him, and Miami was the last school he visited. Come on, let's just try Miami, one more school. And he loved it, after he was planning to go another place, but he really liked that. And he liked it because, hey, they have the major that I want. So I really like this. I like how they do this. So for me, it's not, I don't care if he goes to here or there, it's how does it fit and how are you going to be after 4 years after that? Are you going to have grown or not? So
super helpful. And when I go through this process, my brother had a coach who was horrendous. And that's what I've come to is the divisions are great and all, but like, you got to love your coach. You just, for the love, you have to love your coach. So the coach has to love you. So here's the last thing. I am going to send you guys over everything we spoke about via email. And I want you to think about it as a family. You're not allowed to work with me today. I want you guys to look into it. However, because I only work with one player per position per grad year with your son's grades, I have to have an answer by tomorrow. If tomorrow you say, hey, we have another question, or you want to email me something, please email me back. I'm happy to answer it. But it just means I do need an answer by tomorrow. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay. It was a pleasure talking to you all. If you have any questions, please let me know and we'll talk soon.
Okay. See you. Thanks.
See you. Sorry, I have one more question actually.
Okay.
This is for your son. If you were leaning towards yes, maybe, or no to work with me, where would you say you are?
I mean, me personally, I would want to.
And then from your parents' perspective, are you in the yes, maybe, or no set category?
I'd say maybe.
Is the maybe something that I said that isn't clear, or where does the maybe come from?
Maybe is not that. You have to understand that I'm pretty cheap.
Very cheap.
So,
Very.
you know, for me, it's a balance of, you know, balancing out really well of, you know, the money that we would spend, you know, is that going to, how much further along is that going to get Nick to what he wants? And at the end of those 4 years, is that going to
No, great
balance
point.
that on?
Great. For some people, $5,000 is worth it to play the college soccer of their choice, and sometimes it's not. And I don't want to push anybody if that's not worth it. So having said that, I totally understand. I appreciate your time. And like I said, if you have any questions, let me know.
Okay,
All right,
thanks.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Recording in progress.
Hello, everybody. I'm so sorry for the delay. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi
no
there.
problem.
I super apologize, but I have extra time after this, so I apologize, but thank you so much for your patience.
Thank you.
Having said that, could I ask who found me first?
I did, yeah.
Amazing. And what did you tell your son about me?
That you were actually recommended by one of my coworkers who also follows you.
Mhm.
And he said that you post like really great educational videos on the process. And we had actually spoken with someone else, but they did more of a general, I think it was
NCSA, baby. Of course.
Yeah. And they do like more of a general. So when I was talking to my colleague, I explained, and he has an actual soccer player son who's in the process. He actually is a senior this year. So he was like, no, this is the guy you should look at. So I started following your Instagram, and I had Javi start watching your videos on Instagram. And then we went from there.
Amazing. Awesome. That's super exciting. Well, thank you for that and expressing that. Having said that, there was a longer video I tried to make you guys watch. Did you get a chance to see that?
Yes, all three of us did.
Okay, amazing. Thank you. Is there a third one of you hiding there?
Sorry, my husband's over there.
Perfect. Hello. Nice to meet you. Okay, great. Having said that, thank you for bragging about me. Oh, there you go. I can see everybody. Lovely. Thank you. So that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Having said that, can I kind of explain the agenda for today?
Sure.
So the first thing is I saw your son's video, which is why we're on the call today. Otherwise, I would have probably, I can cancel it if I so choose, because I only work with one player per grad year with the same type of schools we're going to aim for. So the first thing is, there's parts of your son's video that I really like. We'll talk about that in a minute. So the first goal, though, is for me to interview you guys. College coaches are going to interview you, so I need to see what you guys are all like, including the parents. So that's number one. Number two, I want you to interview me. You've seen my videos, but you've never met me in person, so this is how we get to talk to each other. And then the third thing is I want to see if I can scare your son away from playing college soccer, because if I can scare him away, then mom and dad, you can just chill on the weekends and just relax, which would be pretty nice. So having said that, the first question I have for your son is this. I got to look over his information. I understand what year he's in. He's got great grades and everything else. Right now, can I confirm you're going into 9th grade? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me what you've done so far in this process in regards to the recruiting process. You can brag to me for a minute.
I haven't really done much, but I've been trying to record videos of like good saves and then kind of post it onto social media, and just I kind of made my Instagram public. So I think I got I have an isn't El Salvador's national team, like I think they posted about me a few times. I think one of them might be following me. I don't know though. I have to double check, but I try to like go onto the videos or like any recordings they have and try to post those, try to edit those. But I think I've only, other than the video you saw, I've only had really one video edited, and that was by Surf. I don't really know how to edit, so I'm trying to improve on that so I could post more clips out there and stuff like that. But
Okay.
other than that, I haven't really done much for the recruiting process.
Okay, that's super helpful. would you say right now, or having said all that, nobody's texted you, right? No D3 schools have texted you or tried to call you? Okay. And have anybody talked about coming on a visit?
No, I don't.
Okay. And if I would ask you, what do you want the most help with, or why are you calling me today? What would you say?
I'd probably want the most help with getting to like a good D1 college or for, I guess, my goaling part, if you're referring to that. I need better footwork personally. My footwork isn't, it's good. I've gotten better throughout the years for sure, but I still feel like I can improve a lot more. So those are two main things I'm looking forward to for this call.
Thank you. I like hearing that. The technical part is something we will help, but that's not where we'll spend most of our time. We'll be talking about how to get recruited. Having said that, if I asked your parents the same question, what do you want your son to get help with? What would you say?
The process of recruiting, like just having someone guide him through it, and someone who's not us telling him, okay, this is what's suggested.
From your father's perspective, any other things you think he needs help with?
No, I think that sums it up. Some an outside resource to lean on, someone who knows the ins and outs. Obviously, this is our first child and oldest, so we're not too sure. And we were high school athletes, but we weren't. Back then the recruiting was much different. You got letters. Most of the time, and then asked to come visit schools. But now, reading everything that we have, it's become apparent that it can be overwhelming.
I do know, unfortunately, all too well. My mother had 3 boys. We all played college soccer, and it was a nightmare for her. She started a page called Mothers Against Driving in Minivans because of all the driving we had to put her through. We went through a couple of those. So that's really helpful for me to hear. Now, I don't work with, as many students. So my question for your son is, why do you want to play college soccer? Why?
Kind of because I wanna say I don't go pro. Maybe I have, since I'm playing in college at a good D1 school, I'll have like knowledge to maybe I wanted to be an engineer for the longest time, but now I think I'm sort of branching off to more of like into the legal area, maybe like a lawyer or mainly a lawyer. So college soccer can also make like a pro team, like I can get scouts from maybe like MLS at my games. But mainly it's just for education and just because I enjoy the sport a lot. So I kind of I'm not able to really play high school since MLS. So I kind of want like the feeling of representing like my school. And that's basically everything.
Super helpful. And if I said to your parents, or I should say to all of you first, you would all agree with me that academics come first, yes? Perfect. So having said that, why do you want to help your son play college soccer? We could just focus on school. Exactly.
Well, for him, it's a passion. Not many kids are as passionate about it as he is. And, I'm an attorney, so I'm very big on education. My husband's very big on education. So we've been pushing that and kind of, put soccer to the side and have been really hard on him academically. And he's proven to us on his own, like, this is what I want. He worked his way up to MLS next, and he's able to really balance both. And that was really going into high school. I said to him, I will support your dream as long as you're meeting our standards here at home. And he has totally done that. So, I went to Berkeley and I really found I had a lot of athletes on my floor who I was friends with, and I really found it enriched their college experience. It was a good balance. And he's a very school spirit kind of guy. So I know that he's right that being part of that community, of that athletic department in a college will really enrich that experience for him.
Amazing. It's awesome to hear. And as you mentioned, academics are really important. I played pro soccer after college, and I played it because of college soccer. And I learned the hard way that I'm really grateful because I made $900 a month and lived in a closet. But I loved it. I played in a lot of different places. I speak Swedish because I was there for like 5 years. But I want your son to get educated. So that's great to hear. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, if that's okay. Your son is going into 9th grade. Why should he be doing this process? So here's how we categorize that. If a kid isn't the level, then he should not start this process then because he has to get good at soccer. I've seen your son's video. I don't like how it's formatted. I don't like that it's on Instagram in that format. And I don't like it's not on YouTube. But aside from all that being wrong, which can be easily corrected, he's a good goalkeeper and he's an elite level player. And I think he's a D1 soccer player. So the problem with that is there's a lot of good goalkeepers who want to play Division I soccer. And if you wanted to just play at a low tier D3, don't start now. Start in 2 years. You'll be fine. But he wants to play at the best schools. And to give you an idea, we just had a student commit to Duke. He's a sophomore, or he's going into his junior year. And at your son's age, I can't tell you that they were talking to him because that's illegal, but they knew who he was. And they knew who he was because of his video. They knew who he was because of camps. And that's the other problem is he was a field player. They already know if they need your son or not. They know exactly how many goalkeepers they need 3 years in advance because they know who's going to redshirt. Now, there's always transfers. There's always exceptions. But typically, your timeline, don't think of yourself as a freshman. Think of yourself as a sophomore. Does that make sense? If you want to play D1, you want to be committed going into your junior year space is much more comfortable if you really want to play D1. And if you want a scholarship, that's the non-negotiable because that's where the money goes. Does that make sense? Now, the other thing is you have really good grades, which is awesome. We love that. The other problem with that is you want to go to the best academic schools like every other kid with a 4.0. So every single kid with a 4.0, which there are a lot, who plays soccer at the MLS next level, ECNL and every other one, they all want to go to, Duke, Notre Dame, all the top Harvard, Princeton, they all want to go to the top schools. So it becomes very competitive. So what my role is to say, hey, do I think I can help you get the best chance to play at those schools, given that I think you're the level? If I didn't think you're the level, then maybe we wouldn't be able to work together. So that brings me to this. I kind of want to explain the steps that I think he needs to take. Is that okay with you guys? All right. So before our call, I kind of wrote this out. So I got to fix his video. And here's the good news. The analogy I want to give you is he has a boat, okay? He is the boat. And his boat is beautiful. It's fast. It's strong. It can go through waves. It can go under. It's a submarine also if it wants. It's a great boat. But it's stuck on the sand, okay? And nobody knows who he is. And as long as it stays on the sand, nobody cares what the boat can do because it's on sand. So I need his boat to go into the ocean and go explore all the islands, aka getting college coaches to see him. So with a goalkeeper, you need to do training videos like all the time. You need to do side volley videos. He talked about his feet. You need to do all these videos. The other thing with your Instagram, you have one picture where you're sitting on a car. You can't have that. You look like, you just can't have that. It's not acceptable. So having said that, I care about the emotional piece of this because the coaches need to like you. Now, I'm getting to know you. You're a great kid. It's not a big deal, but you're talking to college coaches. So we need to be very specific. The next thing is, while you haven't done a ton yet, right? You don't have any phone calls or texts, and you may go, well, he's only a freshman. He can't do that. That is incorrect. You can talk to Division III schools like any normal person. And with the kids that really play D1, I just made a video about it. Some random person commented on one of my posts saying, I'm a 9th grader. I play for DC United, and the D1 schools are talking to my coach all the time. So it'd be silly to be naive to think that they don't do that. So that's that. The next thing is we do have to talk about camps. I don't want you going to – look, I work with a handful of goalkeepers, over the course of the years. I've worked with a lot. Camps are super important for you because if you go to a game, you might not be involved that much. It's not your problem. It's not your fault, but that's just the deal. So they need to see the goalkeeper coach is the one you have to develop a relationship with, and the head coach has to like you. So that's that piece of it. Then you've already done a couple things, like you talked about your video. So I want to go through those. That's what an audit is. And then your team is great, but you want to leverage that your team is great. And there's a couple ways to do that. Your coach, is not going to do the work that I'm talking about necessarily because he's working with so many other kids. Does that make sense? Would you agree?
Yeah.
So, but doesn't mean we don't need him. We do. We need him and we want him. So we want to have him help us with leveraging. We want him to make calls for us, but he won't do that out of the blue. You have to do the work first. And then you need to make him look good and go, hey, coach, I already spoke to Princeton. Could you call them? And he goes, of course, they already like you. Of course, I'll talk to you. But you can't just expect him to call Princeton. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So that brings me to this. you guys were talking about NCSA. Okay, so NCSA, I bought NCSA when I was a kid. My mom bought it for all three of us, and not only was that a price, but also like it didn't freaking work. So that was frustrating, and that's when I kind of started doing. My mom was in PR. My dad's a Emmy award-winning filmmaker, but they didn't know anything about soccer. But we did send a lot of emails and we did send a lot of video. And then now I've been doing it for so long, I actually know what to say, and which they did not do. And maybe that's why I didn't play at a bigger school. I played D1 soccer, but it was a small D1 school, and I had good grades. But I, probably would have liked to go to a higher level program, but I didn't know what I was doing. So now I have a better idea. So having said that, with NCSA, obviously personally, I just want to be better than them because they weren't good to me. But also, I care about your son. I want him to, if he wants to be a lawyer, I want to help him get an internship in the summer. I want him to maybe shadow under his mom so he can put that on his college application. Like, that's important to me. And obviously they do every sport. There's a million kids. They don't have the means for that. So that's them. I want to edit all your videos. So you're going to give me the video and I'm going to edit it. I'm either going to have it where you're going to be mic'd up at certain opportunities, because that's really important for goalkeepers. We need GoPro footage, which is behind the goal, or a camera of some kind. We will need it at training. Your video is it's super important. So that brings us then to the AI system. And you guys got to see that, right? Through the longer video.
Yeah.
Cool. So look, they have the same thing, but it comes from their companies, and college coaches hate that. So I didn't make another one and have it say your name at CollegeSoccerGuy. The coaches know who I am just because I've been doing this a while, but I want them to know you. They need to know you. They need to think it's a genuine email. And with this, we can do that. And then I want you to be able to talk to me all the time. They're limited. They're usually like twice a month. And even if they say more than that, I don't know. I really care. So I want you actually in the contract, you're required to meet with us every week for the first month. That is a non-negotiable. If you're busy, of course, that's acceptable, but then you'll be messaging us on Discord. So, and then for them, they'll put you in a contract and they'll say, if it's not working, too bad. You sign the contract. There's no way out of it. I'm not like that. I expect results in 3 months, but if they were not getting the results in 3 months, then I'll refund you. Does that make sense? You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to, will you send us that afterward?
Absolutely, 100%. I'm going to send it to you right now, actually. So that brings me to this. This is how I see us working with your athlete. So the first thing is I guess I should back up briefly and just say, is that the type of help, I'm going to ask your son first, that you want? Is that the type of help you're looking for?
Yeah, I'm looking for lots of help.
Okay. And from your parents' perspective, I'm not getting a good read on your father. Is this the type of help you think would benefit him or not so much?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. And mom?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So that brings me to this. My father is quite stoic, and if he heard me doing these calls, and obviously I'm his son, and he has heard me do these calls, he would be, I think his immediate thing would be like, what's your angle type of thing? And, I want to be genuine. So that brings me to this. When I'm working with students, this is how it works. So we have meetings every Sunday. All right, I need you to talk to other goalkeepers that are already playing college soccer so you can ask them how it went and how difficult it is. And frankly, I'm trying to scare you away. So if I can do that, great. So that's that piece. The next piece is you're going to get a one-on-one coach. This will be a goalkeeping expert who has helped goalkeepers play college soccer, because you're a goalkeeper. I'm not a goalkeeper. And you will meet with them every week and talk to them every day. Now, I monitor everything, every email, every video, everything you edit. I do all of it. Every coach that needs a goalkeeper, I'm telling you who to email, the list of schools. But I want you to speak to somebody every day. So that is your coach's job. You'll be able to message us on Discord, which you saw in the video. I will edit all your videos for the rest of your life. I know you mentioned you need to work on your editing. I'm just going to edit them for you. There's a couple times where I'll teach you, just so that way if you go to a camp, you know how to post it the next day, because it takes my team like 24 hours. But, I want 24 to 48 hours, but I want you to be able to have the videos, and we will edit them. We're also going to go through game videos. So we'll say to you, hey, we want to talk about the fact that in this moment, as a college coach, would have preferred you did X, Y, Z. You should have put it down as your feet and not played until you drew pressure. Your video is too far away. You need to zoom in over and over. It never ends, unfortunately. And then if you want to play at the highest level, like with the kid that's committed to Duke, he can talk about playing pro soccer now because he's got a 4-year contract at his dream school. He deserves that, but you haven't earned that yet. Does that make sense? So for now, it's only college soccer. Okay. So then you saw the Google Drive and the AI. And then to work with me, it's a one-time fee. I think NCSA is maybe a little bit less. Having said that, if in the first 3 months you're not being genuinely recruited, then I will refund it. I expect, and this is only because I think he's a good goalkeeper, that he's texting with coaches and getting genuine invites to ID camps and is being told, hey, it's a little bit too early, but stay in touch with us in 3 months. And the little bit too early part is healthy, because if you want to buy a new phone at the Apple store, you don't wait till like the store is open. You'll be in line for forever. You get there early and you have to wait, and the doors aren't open yet. But when the doors do open, you're the first one there. Does that make sense? So I hope that portrays the importance of starting now, but mainly it's because as much as we care about academics, as much as we want to play D1, the main reason starting at this point is because I don't want him to have to rush his decision when it comes to picking his coach. If he waits, he may get offers, but then he didn't do this due diligence on if that was a good coach or not. And that's what happened to my brother, my middle brother. He rushed into it. We didn't know what we were doing. And his coach was very abusive emotionally and mentally, and he was cutting himself, and it was a horrible situation for the family. So that's why I'm very adamant that it's about finding the right coach. And he just got fired actually for being drunk on campus because he was a horrible person. Anyways, that's the last thing we want for your son. So here's the last piece. I don't work with that many. I only work with one goalkeeper per grad year. So your son will be the only one with his grades. You might have another one, but he's not aiming D1. So that is to say to your son, why do you think you're a good fit to work with me?
I think I'm a good fit to work with you because I'm prepared to kind of try to get offers from D1 schools. Like you said, I'm at an elite level. So personally, I don't think it will be hard, but I think I will put in the effort to try to get recruited by D1 schools in these 3 months, maybe 2 months. I'm just a very good kid, I guess you could say.
I agree. I felt that during this call. From your parents' perspective, why do you think your son's a good candidate to work with me?
You can go ahead.
He's actually really, really hardworking, and for a kid his age, he really has perspective and a goal in mind, and he's willing to put that first. And I think that he's shown to us that this is something he really wants to do. And he has our support. So
amazing. From your father's perspective?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I mean, obviously, I think skill-wise, from what I've seen in the last few years, there aren't many keepers that are better than Javi. If any, like there might be one or two that I've seen personally, and I'm usually his toughest critic. But I think that coupled with the fact that he's got really good grades, he's a really good kid who cares, about people and what they think. And he is willing to put in the work, whether it be on the field, in the classroom, editing, like you said, or looking at videos and trying to pick out which ones he wants to use. So I think overall, I think it would make your job a bit easier, or, as easy as it can be, I guess, with respect to what you do.
I appreciate you saying that. There's one last thing here. If he keeps his grades where they are, I do anticipate, $60,000 to $80,000 in scholarship. That's academic. Now, athletics a piece of it. Now, athletic money is limited. You get 9.9 scholarships. Some teams don't even have that much. So you're talking about $2,000 to $10,000 if you're lucky. So, however, you might get into the school because of soccer. So that's why you get the academic money, if that makes sense. So it's really kind of the same thing. Having said that, when I work with students, like the price that I quoted you is the same if he became like a sophomore or junior or a senior. So I reward kids to start earlier because I can be more efficient. Does that make sense? Okay, so that is to end with this. Because I only work with one player per position, and I enjoyed talking to you guys today, I have to have an answer by tomorrow. If tomorrow you say, hey, we have another question, please email me. I'm happy to answer it. But if I don't hear from you at all, then I have to give the position away. Does that make sense? Okay. And then I just want to ask your son one last question. Let's pretend scholarship is sorted. Let's just pretend it's up to you. You have $1 million gajillion dollars. Are you leaning towards yes, you want to work with me, or no, you want to work with me, or maybe?
Right now, for sure, like 100%. Yeah.
Okay. And from your parents, are you in the yes, maybe, or no?
If I can be like completely candid with you, because I like to just put everything, the financial aspect is big for us. Not because we're not willing to, we would love to, but financially we are limited in what we can do. I was having a hard time looking at it because
Yeah.
I have it on the small screen.
Yeah.
But just kind of want to talk to you a little bit about the finances, if we can spread it out.
Good question. We could spread out to 5. That's the best I can do. But I could spread it out over 5 months.
And they would, yeah, and you would have to be upfront, right?
We would, yeah, it would go like 1, 1, 1, and 1. And then the answer is yes. The only reason we do that, we've tried other models, right? If you add it up, if we're with them from now until he graduates, it's like literally $12 a month. But the reason we do this model is because I expect results in 3 months. So you guys will be very focused because you've put in a financial thing. My team and I will be very focused, and it breeds really good results. So that's why we do this model. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I appreciate your honesty. I do appreciate your honesty.
And is there any way to like cut some of the things to reduce the financial price of it?
Good question. If I thought that could work, I would. But the answer is it won't work. Then you'll just be throwing it away. So the answer is no. There's one other, well, not for you, there's no. There's sometimes I'll offer a one-time meeting, and then I charge a one-time meeting fee, and you can book me one time, for 1,000 basically, or 1K, but I don't do that because I don't think it works. So the answer is this is the best I can do.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I heard you mention GoPro for recording. So say I record with the GoPro and there's no sound, is that fine? Or
we have to work with that with you. So that's something we'll talk about when we get started.
Okay.
So here's the last thing. I hear you guys what you're saying financially. I have to run to my next call. If you email me back and you give me an option that you want, I'll look at it. But this is but what I told you today is kind of what it is. I appreciate your honesty. I want to help. I think he's a good soccer player. But just email me either way because now I care. So even if you don't want to work with me, just let me know. Cool?
Yeah. Sorry, and then one last question. Would he have to, we have to buy any, I know you talked about the GoPro, and we use our iPhones?
iPhone's fine.
Okay,
Yeah,
no
I don't
extra
need a GoPro.
equipment you'd want us just to financially.
Yeah, I will have him buy one $20 tripod.
Oh, okay, that's okay.
Yeah. But otherwise, no. He will have to go to camps though. Camps will be part of this life for sure. Unfortunately, that is part of the deal still. We're just going to make sure we make the most of those. Perfect.
And we are looking at the elite camp coming in August.
Cool. So there's a bunch of stuff we need to do before that if you are thinking about it. That's what we'd like to do if it's up to us. So
and should I go ahead and register him or wait till we sign up with you?
I would rather get to know. I need to do the audit and talk about it with you guys, but the short answer is maybe, but I don't want to say yes and have that be wrong. So I just don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Wonderful, guys. Thank you for asking. It was lovely talking to you all. If you have any questions, just email me and I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Recording in progress.
You tore your ACL before sophomore season. I don't play ECNL unless. What do I do to play D1? You might have to take a gap year, Liv. But there's a lot of things to debate over that. We'll talk about it later.
Hello.
Hello, boss. I saw you this morning. Sorry for the delay. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate that. How was training?
Great.
Great.
Also,
that's what I like to hear. I stuck around to watch you for a bit because I was knew I was talking to you later today. So it's very rare I get to see players in person. Mostly everything we do is online. So that's a lovely bonus. Having said that, could I ask who found me first?
So I found you, I forgot where it was, but I think probably on Instagram or TikTok.
Amazing. And what did you tell your mom about me?
So I told her that, my dream is to commit to a D1 school, preferably Ivy League, because I'm an academic guy as well as athletic. And I told her that I think you can help me get there.
You told me you started.
Oh, and then yeah, one more thing. I'm very new to soccer, so I started playing around say a year and a half, or around a year and a half. Yeah. So I've been playing for 18 months now,
Okay.
but my progression has been very rapid, and I've grown exponentially. So
I did see. I was watching you. Which foot do you prefer? Are you most comfortable with?
right foot.
Okay. Cool. That's what I saw when you were training on your own.
This morning, I also was not on my A game because I got off 26 hours of travel yesterday. So
Wow. Yeah, that's a ton. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Super helpful. Thank you for letting me know. That brings me to the purpose of today's call. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Awesome. I'm taking notes over here. So the first thing being, can I ask you, well, I'll tell you, I guess I'll start with that, is the goal today is to interview each other. I want you to interview me and I want to interview you. There was a long video I tried to make you guys watch. Did you get a chance to see the long video?
yeah, we watched it in like 2x speed.
Perfect.
But-
That's perfect. That's what it's for. Having said that, I want you to interview me and I want to interview you. If you think I can help you, that's a good start. If you don't like my price, for example, or something else, then we can have a discussion. So having said that, I want to begin by saying, tell me what you've done so far in the process, Mr. Carson, just so that way I get an idea of what you've done up to this point. Oh, I have one more thing. I also want to see if I can scare your son away from playing college soccer. Because if I can scare him away, then we don't have to deal with any of this, and that makes everybody's life better. Okay, go for it. Tell me what you've done so far.
So, in terms of soccer, I haven't really done much other than use NCSA and Total Global Sports.
Mm-hmm.
And like I get like emails about ID camps, but I don't know if I can really do much from there. And then I've also had my highlight video made. It wasn't really a highlight; it was just good touches from the season, like I discussed with you when I saw you the first time a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had that video made. I put it up on my Instagram. It's on YouTube, but I haven't really sent any emails out yet or done much.
Okay, good for me to know. And right now, who is your coach at your club?
So my coach in my club is, I think, Coach Hunter Stewart,
Mhm.
and Renee Colasos, I think. I've only met Coach Hunter because I was on Santa Monica Surf and I played Flight 2 there for a few, like half a year. And then I took a break to work on myself technically and like really get into the game because my feet, like at first it was my head was there, not my feet. And then I kind of wanted to catch up on my feet, and then my feet surpassed, like my ability of my feet surpassed my head. So I really just wanted to shape my mental and technical game. And then I joined Breakers RL, and I was there until around a month ago. And then I switched to Culver City NPL because I thought it was the better option for me technically,
Okay,
like to my development.
awesome. Thank you for telling me that. All right, that's really helpful. In saying that, I know you want to play at Ivy League school, which is awesome. So you guys would both agree with me that academics come first?
Yeah.
Amazing. And having said that, what do you want the most help with? Obviously, we spoke a while back. What do you want my help with?
So I want your help with one, like helping me get in touch with coaches and getting exposure. And then I also want like to have an advisor by me my whole way. So like if I ever have questions about my path as a soccer player, just someone to ask for advice from. Because I know you play college soccer and I know like I could get some relatable advice from you.
I like that. That's definitely part of my job. And if I asked your mom the same question, what do you think your son needs the most help with?
I think the guidance, because since he started, well, soccer is pretty new to him and us, and in LA, it just seems like the clubs are all a bit, it's kind of like the draw of luck, like depends where you land and who the coach is. And so I think the guidance and how to improve, because he is a relatively new player, but he did off the bat place on the B team at Surf. And then he got on to Breakers, and then the RL team all of a sudden there was a lot of commotion there. I don't know, because we were new, but like there was a lot of
unhappy parents there, and we basically came in the middle of some major drama, and so the team kind of more than half, almost everyone but 2 players left
So,
because
yeah.
they were moving them down to SoCal. And there wasn't any transparency from the higher guys there. And there was like a big old, like, we sat through Zoom arguments and like, it was kind of weird, but
Yes, club
because
soccer.
I have, he's done so many other sports and my daughter dances and it's all very transparent off the bat. It's very organized and I don't know. So then he just joined Culver City, but before he joined Culver City, we were asking for advice from different coaches, but it seemed like everyone also had their own agenda.
Very well. Very good. You're learning fast. I'm sorry.
So yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry
just,
that it's this way.
I think someone to genuinely guide him and recognize like what his shortcomings are and what his strengths are. Basically guide us through that. It's like just some honest opinion and feedback and guidance.
Amazing. Oh, that's super helpful. And you're right. Look, I played for the Breakers many years ago. And club soccer coaches, they have an agenda financially to keep you part of their club. So that's the whole thing. And I don't care about any of those things. The only thing I care about is that your son is happy ultimately and is going to college. I'm the college soccer guy. So of course, naturally it's about him playing college soccer, but I really do want him to get a good job and love what he does. And I have to give him a lot of compliments. One of the reasons I'm excited we're talking is you mentioned he started recently. I'm impressed with his video. He doesn't look like he started just a couple years ago. So that's exciting to me. Having said that,
he started like really a year ago.
Incredible, actually incredible. And I know Surf, the team so this morning I was training and I own a UPSL team, which is affiliated with Santa Monica Surf. So I know everybody there. And I grew up in Malibu, which is not far. And my brother played for Surf in Santa Monica and everything. So I know everybody you're kind of talking about. And
Surf was actually very organized. I mean, compared to Breakers, Surf was very impressive. It was our first experience, but then he just wanted to, improve and work at his own pace. But Surf was very good in retrospect. Like,
Yeah, so
Breakers was the one that got a lot of.
Yes, I know the head guy at Breakers, and I coached at Breakers myself for a while. And your Surf that's part of the reason I moved my team to Surf is because of that. I really like Fed, who's the head guy, and yeah, that's super helpful for me to hear.
Who's the head guy at Breakers? Federico is Surf, yeah, but Breakers is Tim.
I know Tim Pierce and I go way back. We've been, and I'm not going to get into that now, but I understand what you're talking about. Okay, so,
I can read your mind. You don't need to tell me.
Perfect. So having said that, that leads me kind of to this. Why do you want to play college soccer? I know we want to help you get good grades and everything, but why do you want to put your mom and I through all this? There's a lot of work, a lot of traveling. She's already done doing it now. Why?
But I have to tell you, it's all him. This is not me. This is not his dad. He makes us take him to UCLA. He's a self-starter. He does his own training. This is all him. This is
the fact that you told me he started a year ago and I saw the video I can tell that it is all him. And
I mean, he finds coaches, he finds trainers. We're just paying the bills and like, what the hell are we doing?
Okay, good to know. So why are you putting your mom through all this is the question. Why do you want to do all this?
So I think it's for the love of the game, honestly. So my whole family has been like always huge soccer fans, but I never really felt the hype around it until like, as I said, like 2 years ago, I started getting into soccer and I was noticing like, it's fun to play. And I always thought it was a boring sport to watch, but if you really like know the game, it's so much fun to watch. And I think one of the reasons I want to play college soccer is one, because I love the game and I enjoy playing it. And two, I think it's a great use of my time and it's like keeps my body in shape. I think it keeps my mind strong technically because you always have to be thinking in soccer. And I don't know, I just really love it. And I think it's a great thing to supplement academics as well. Because if you're not training, you're working on your academics. And if you're not working on your academics, you're training.
I mean, I have to give credit to him because a lot of his teammates too. I mean, it's been hard to start at this age. They've been real, excuse my French, assholes. They make fun of him. They talk down. They talk shit behind his back. But, he's very determined and he's just moving along, like just he has a vision, and they say you suck, he sucks, like why is he on our team? Like it's hard to come in at this age, but he's determined. He wants to play. And I don't know if he's told you though, he started football at Harvard Westlake, and immediately they're like, you need to be our kicker. So
Very
Yeah,
cool.
so I also do kicking, which is like I do it during the football season really, but I spend most of my time playing soccer, and then kicking is just like supplemental pretty much.
Are you about to attend Harvard Westlake?
I am at Harvard Westlake.
You
I'm
are
going
at
into
Okay, awesome. I coached at Harvard Westlake for
really?
2.5 years under Mr. Arush, and I know Harvard Westlake very well. I currently work with about 3 Harvard Westlake kids today, so I know the stress.
So,
One
yeah.
of the students I worked with, he's playing at Harvard, and he was at Harvard Westlake.
Oh, is it Will Sherwood?
That's correct.
That's my friend's brother. I mean, my brother's friend. I mean, my friend's brother. Sorry.
Nice. Yeah. So his dad and I, Mr. Sherwood, honestly, when I was starting this process, he was like my first to like go to an Ivy League school. So that was exciting. And we've had a few more since then. So having said that, that's super helpful for me. I want to just first say this. I want to apologize for your mom. Your son's addicted. You're screwed. It sucks. It sucks. It's a love-hate relationship. But somebody came up to my mother around your son's age and literally like came to her and said, I'm so sorry. Your son is addicted. And the other mother saw me doing like high knees in a warm-up. And I was like trying to hit myself in the face with my high knees. And that mother introduced my mother to this coach who is somebody I like to be similar to, but it was a British guy, knew nothing about college soccer, but was like, I believe in you. And just like your son, I was made fun of. I was driving hours. I was driving to Pasadena 4 days a week, all of my high school. And it was tough, but no different than your son. I was very, very determined. And obviously in the long run, you're like, pretty cool. So having said that, it's a lot though. And I understand where your son is coming from. So that brings me to this and the way I see your situation. So as you mentioned, you started recently. And so the good news is you started recently at an age where you're moldable, both soccer-wise, but also educationally. If I say we need to switch club teams, we could talk about that. Harvard Westlake's a good school. I might tell you to stop kicking. College coaches do not want kickers, like generally speaking. So if you want to do it for fun, then you just have to know the consequences because college coaches want you to be playing soccer and typically only soccer. Now, we don't have to go around telling them, but I'm just being honest with you. There are very few Ivy League players that also were kickers. Now, there were some. There's like one at Dartmouth, actually, so it's not out of the question. But it's mainly to say to you, look, I want you to pursue your dream to the highest level. And in order to do that, if you really want to play Ivy League soccer, I'll tell you right now, if you're not playing MLS next year, ECNL, Ivy League soccer is pretty much not realistic. That's really non-negotiable.
Yeah, so what I was like, when I came into the game, I didn't really know much about MLS next to ECNL, but I think with social media nowadays, and I think all the hype around it, my dream should be to become the best player I am, but my dream really is to get to play at that level and to get that exposure to coaches and tournaments.
Mm-hmm. And here's the good news. We're having a discussion at a time where everything is possible. We're fine. If you were a junior and you told me what you told me and you gave me what you gave me, I'd be like, you're not going to play college soccer at those schools. But now the doors are still available. It's difficult, but it's still possible. So I want to show you what we're going to do in order to make that happen. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. So the first thing is this, and this talks about the guidance that you guys want and frankly, the guidance that I think you need, whether it's from me or anyone else, is first of all, as you mentioned, you want them to only care for your son dealing with clubs like Culver City. They send all of their kids to my UPSL team. And so we've got like 3 or 4 kids. Your son, I know your son. I've seen him train. I want him to come train with my team. It's really helpful. All my kids, I don't have that many kids in SoCal, but I've got 2 or 3 others. And they all bring a tripod and they record the practice because today we had 3 players who are from Division I schools training with us. So you can't beat that. Your son is literally 5 years younger than him. And if he passes to them, if he steals the ball, it goes a long way. So step 1 is, there's an opportunity to come play with my group because you're local. That's not extended if you're not local because it's too far away. I need to fix his video. So his video is a good start, meaning like it's a good start, but we have to do a lot more of it. And we have to talk about like how to make it the best we can possibly make it. It's not ready for top academic schools. Having said that, one of the ways to get recruited to a top academic school is you need to get interest from D3 schools first. I know you want to play D1. I appreciate that, but do you have any offers yet?
No.
Correct? So if you want to play college soccer, and unfortunately, even though I prioritize academics, your son is addicted to soccer, so soccer is going to be some part of his life probably, is we have to get interest first from the D3s. So first thing is we got to fix his emails, and you saw the AI system so we can send it out faster. We want to pick the camps for him. I'm sure you guys have thought about this. Look, if he wasn't a good player at his age, then you don't go to camps. You wait. The problem with waiting is there are other kids ahead of you. Like we have a student who's a sophomore who just committed to Duke, or he's going into his junior year, but he was a sophomore. And, he was going to Duke. He had gone to the Duke camp 7 times before they made him an offer. 7. So you want to play at an Ivy League school or a school like that? That is what is required. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So then we want to give him exercises to do to get better. We got to talk about club soccer. It's always up for discussion. And then we're going to have to make his list. Then eventually we'll get to these steps. We're not quite there yet, but that will happen soon. And then there's other people like me, okay? So I'm the college soccer guy, and there's NCSA, sports recruits, everyone else. And the big difference is they claim to have a platform, and I don't have one of those because I don't believe in the platform, especially if you want to go to a top academic. You have to email the coach. You can talk to Will. If you want to get recruited, Will initially wasn't being recruited by anybody because he wasn't playing MLS Next. But we told the school, hey, there's a good chance I'm going to get in on my own. Here's my information. And because of that, they were considering him. So the videos we made, the emails we did, that was super important for him because he only wanted to go to Harvard. He wasn't going to go it anywhere else. So you might be slightly more flexible. But you want to play college soccer, you want to play at the highest level, you want to play D1 and academics. Harvard Westlake's really helpful. Their high school team has gotten really good, but it doesn't help you, unfortunately, from a college soccer perspective. But it does from an academic. Really, it definitely does. So we need to edit all your videos. I need you to email people. I need you to talk to me all the time. And if it's not working in the first 3 months, then I refund you. So that brings me what I want to show you now. So when I'm working with students, you guys saw that price there. Yours will be a little bit different because you're local and I know all the clubs. So I kind of have an arrangement. If I can't do it with everybody, but I try. So this is basically what it's going to look like to work with us. Basically, the first thing is this. When we're working together, it's really important to me that your son is exposed to older players. So the first thing is I want him coming to my practice within reason. Okay, I don't want him coming instead of an ID camp, instead of his own practice. UPSL does not get you recruited. So you got to live in your own world. But I do want to help as much as I can. So the way we do that is every Sunday we have a meeting. Look, he's going to be with me for a long time. We're with the players until they graduate college, not just to college, through graduation. So graduation of college. So I expect him on all those Zoom meetings. Of course, he's going to miss some for soccer, but every Sunday we have a meeting. Then he's going to get a one-on-one coach. You talked about the guidance. It's going to be me plus an additional coach. The additional coach is somebody that's frankly helped players play it at the Ivy League schools. I never played at Ivy League. I was never close to doing so. So I hired people and I trained them so that way they can help your son because they get it better than I do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Then you're going to message us on Discord all the time, especially for you because you are playing catch up because of how late you started soccer. Then we want to edit all your videos. We're going to have to go through game video review and tell you what to do better. We have the Google Drive, the AI, which you saw. And then to work with us, it's a lifetime deal. So we're with you until you graduate college. So the big thing is, even given his age, I expect that he is texting and emailing, maybe phone calls, but probably not yet, but texting and emailing with Division III schools within 3 months. I expect that to happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
D1 schools, not yet. That can happen, but we're not quite at that phase. But I expect that to happen within 3 months. And if it doesn't happen in 3 months, then we shouldn't work together because if I can't show you that we can get results or that we can help him start to find the right school, then we maybe are not the right fit. Does that make sense?
One question,
Please.
like when you say you're being recruited within 3 months, does that mean I get a response from them, or does that mean they have interest in me, or does that mean what is your definition of?
Good question.
recruiting?
So it's not actually my definition. It's defined by the NCAA, and the NCAA defined genuine interest as non-robotic communication from a college coach in the shape of, and not limited to, phone calls, emails, compliments on your video, likes on your Instagram post, follows on your Instagram, invites you to ID camp, talks to you at the ID camp when they're not supposed to, It's a variety of things. But if you get any robot emails, we have an AI that will literally mark it and say this is 99% generated, automated. Obviously, that doesn't count. We expect you to be talking to the schools.
Okay.
Very good. So here's the last thing for both of you. I should ask your son this first. Is this the type of help you are looking for?
Yes.
And from your mom's perspective, is this the type of help you think would benefit your son?
Yes.
Okay. So that brings me to the last point. I only work with one player per grad year. Does that make sense? So because of that, like I will only work with him in his position for the rest of this time. The price that you saw that I'm quoting you is the same price if he does it next year or the next year or the next year. I reward kids who start earlier. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So that brings me basically to the last question. Let's say you're not allowed to work with me today. I want you to talk to your dad, talk to your mom. It's a big decision. You're going to be with us for a long time. I also want you to come train with us, which I can only extend if you're working with me, is if you had to work with me today, this is for your son first, and I'll ask your mom. If you had to work with me today, what questions might you have for me? Can I ask you a question then while you're thinking of one?
Yeah.
Why do you think you're a good fit to work with me? I'm not going to take on anyone else in your position. Why do you think you would be a good candidate for me?
Because I think overall, I've heard this from many coaches, and I think this is one of my strong suits because I'm lacking in other places, not because I'm still catching up. But I think I'm a really hard worker, and I think that really puts me in places that I'd love to be. So no matter what day it is, I'll have one rest day a week. But if I'm in town every single day of the week, I'm training. So whether it be at UCLA or anywhere, I think I'm a great fit because I'm always trying to get better. And if it's not on the field, it's at my desk, it's on my screen watching games and footage from my season. Or I think overall, I'm just always working to get better.
I like to hear that. Hey, can I ask your mom the same question? Why you think your son is a good candidate to work with me?
I think what he said, he's very determined. When he sets his mind to something, he normally achieves it. He's a hard worker. He's very academic. He's very focused. And he really wants to do this.
Okay, amazing. So this leads to the last question. Let's pretend money wasn't of the topic for the time being. This is for your son first. Are you leaning towards working with me? Yes, maybe, or no?
I think yes, because I can see as a local player, I see that I could get more help from you than other people across the country could, because you know people around and you know what's the right way to go and what's not. And I think it will also be great guidance for emails or getting the recruiting process and all of the above such.
Amazing. And from your mom's perspective, I want you to talk it over. You're not allowed to work with me today, but just so I have an idea, are you leaning towards yes, maybe, or no?
Yes, but I'm a little confused on your pricing.
Yes. Let me break that down. So we split it up into 3 payments. Does that make sense? So
Yeah, is that annually or is
good
it?
question. No, those are the only payments. That's it. So to show you, I'll just zoom in really quickly. I'm going to pull it up again. Thank you for asking.
And the other thing is you said you'll take one kid per grade. Is that in that position?
Correct. In that position. I will work with other kids going into 8th grade and 9th grade, but I won't work with anyone in his position who wants to go to those top academics. I might have somebody else who wants to go to a mid-tier D3. That's possible, but I won't work with somebody who wants to go to the same schools. And so to break it down, it's split into 3. It's one time of this split into 3 payments because we expect, we want it to happen in 3 months, but we're with them for life. This is the model we use because we have the best results. You guys are invested. We get the ball rolling. The analogy I would give you is he's in a little baby rocket ship, and yeah, we could get started slowly, but I want to shoot him into the freaking moon. And then once we're in the moon, I have to fly him around space. But getting out of Earth, the beginning is always the most difficult part. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to email everything over to you guys. I want you to think about it as a family, talk to everybody you need to. And then I just ask for an answer within 24 hours. If in 24 hours you say we want to move forward, you're going to see a contract. The contracts, you'll see it in the email. The contract will say if your grades drop below a 3.5, unless you guys come up with another one, then he's fired and we will not work together.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Hello, hello?
Yeah, can you hear me? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
You said you said grades and then it cut off.
Okay, sorry. I was saying that if your grades drop below a 3.5, unless your parents give us a different GPA, then we will not work with you. That's number one. Number two, or we'll fire you. Number two, if you don't continue to give me video, whether it's training video that I request or you don't bring your tripod and your iPhone to my practice, then you're fired. Deal? And number three is if you don't show up to the meetings over and over again, we'll give you a couple strikes, but over and over again, then you're also fired. We need to meet with you pretty much every week the first month. Okay. And then the final one is if I'm not getting recruited in 3 months, then you can fire me. Deal?
Deal. Just one heads up about the month thing. I don't think, because I'm leaving for IMG in 2 weeks, and I'll be gone for 2 weeks.
Good point.
So if
we still
let me
expect
know.
you to message us back and forth. You're a student
Yeah, I
athlete.
will.
I don't expect you to be on calls. That's okay. Now, the IMG thing, just so you know, that's great. And there is opportunities if IMG become of interest, but Harvard Westlake's a really good high school. But that's not typically good for college soccer. So we will talk about that when we start about picking camps.
Do you know if it's like good developmentally? Like I'm going to like the summer camp.
The answer is it's okay developmentally. It's a camp. You get to play with other people. That's great. That is better than doing, like today you did private training. That's great. But typically, and this is my own philosophy, you've obviously trained yourself. You need to play with other people who are older than you. That's how you get better at soccer. Non-negotiable.
Yeah.
IMG Academy, not going to hurt you. Yeah, your age, great idea. But if you were with me before, I wouldn't have sent you there. I would have sent you to camp.
Okay.
So where?
An
I
ID
would
camp.
have picked an ID camp with him.
Which school? Like how you? But I thought you have to be a certain age to do it.
8th grade.
Oh.
Starting 8th grade or after 8th grade?
8th grade, period. He can get into the camp. Going into 8th grade, he could do it. They would let him in.
You should have Stanford one.
There you go.
What do all the schools have camps? Like every single one?
No. And some of them will put you in a class because of your age. You know, I want some of them, like I want the top academic D3s to watch your video and say, come, not come to camp because it's a robot. Now, if you want to go to the big schools like Stanford, you mentioned, going to those camps is helpful. Stanford is a reach school today. It's not realistic, but going to camp is an important step. Even if their feedback is, hey, we think you're a D3 player, but we'll recommend you. You know, we need their honest feedback. It's helpful. Okay. Very good, everyone. I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow. You'll let me know by tomorrow, and we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Bye.
You too.
Okay, the other call canceled. So that gives me a little bit of time. This is so awkward. What to do? Hey, I'm 2027. Then I had 2 D1 calls. A promoter pitcher just called me. I'm a magician on the ball. I don't know what to do. Cohen, give me a call. You've had a lot of calls as of 2027. That's incredible. Give me a call. Did this guy just say one meeting? Okay. I tore my ACL before. Okay. All right. Good questions, everybody. Any other questions for me? Hi, what should be the next steps after you send out the first email with your videos, and how should you write follow-up and email to spark conversation? Yusuf Bordbia, you need to ask them a question in your initial email. If they didn't respond to you, you might have done something wrong. And also, I need to see your video to know if the video is good. And then also, you need to ask about ID camps, and then you need to talk about the fall season, and it's really customized. So give me a call, Yusuf. It becomes very custom. Where do you stand on USU soccer? I think, Yusuf, you're the one that canceled the call with me. So, Yusuf, I'm sorry. It's hard for me to help you. I have videos on it, but it's hard unless I know what you said. Where do you stand on USU soccer? I recently got back from a Southern President's Cup in Plano, Texas. I played for Union FC top tier. What do you think about the level of exposure? Very low. You will not play Division I soccer at that level. Typically, there can be exceptions, but it's very difficult. I'm going to try for an ECNL tryout. Any tips? Make sure you memorize the name of the players and you help with it. Dark Horse AI. Good memory. I think you're the one who did. They canceled the call on me. I had a call scheduled with them today, and they skipped it. So I'm trying to book another call with them, and I just haven't heard back. It's driving me nuts. It's driving me nuts. So hopefully they'll call me back because I would love to talk to them. It looked very fascinating to me. So hopefully I'll get to see it. Hopefully. Hopefully I'll get to see it. So we'll see. We will see. We will see. We will see. Okay. 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 Perfect. Okay. Boom. Maybe you don't have any content in Europe, or you only focus on US. I only help with college soccer. That's all I do. Only college soccer. Random question. What is your cleat of choice? I am an Adidas guy. I wear Copas, and they're just comfortable. We start in August. Tell you the club side. We start in August. Tell you the club side. I'm sorry. What do you mean, official commentary? Can you expand? I don't know what you mean. I'm sorry. I just don't know what you mean. Let's see here. Okay. All right. No. Okay. Anything else you need from me? Anybody? All right. That should do that. Okay. I think I only have one more call today. Then I'm finally done. Finally done. Okay, while I'm waiting, I got to do a couple things. It's been a pleasure, everybody. I'm gonna go. I will not be live until next week, in which case I'll be live again. I look forward to talking to you all soon. Thank you so much for your time. Talk to you soon. Bye. What's something you would have done different in your college career? I took a penalty that my coach told me not to take, and I wasn't listening. I was a bad listener. I really wanted the glory, and I wish I had listened to my coach. Okay, I'll talk to you all soon.